Hi, my name is Ben Melsky. I'm the harpist and executive director of Ensemble Dal Niente, and I will be the harp soloist for Hilda Paredes' Demente Cuerda.
Hi, I'm Hilda Paredes. I'm the composer of this piece, which I'm very honored to have this collaboration with Dal Niente, whom I have had the pleasure of getting to know this year in virtually known, because all our communication has had to be in Zoom, like most people in the world right now. Yeah, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to have a second performance of a work of mine. Well, the first performance of Demente Cuerda at Library of Congress, but second piece that is being programmed there. So I'm very happy to be back at the Library of Congress. Thank you for having us.
Hilda, can you tell us a little bit about the piece and how it came to be?
Yes, I wrote this piece in 2004. So I had been going for a few years to a festival in Valencia in Spain called Ensemble. It was a festival of new music. It is a festival of new music. It's still happening. And it was my first collaboration, my first commission to write something for the ensemble, the Spanish ensemble group Instrumental de Valencia, which was conducted or is conducted still by Joan Cerveró. And since we have had a few collaborations, so they asked me to write a piece, and they invited me to hear the ensemble. And I really like the harpist. Luisa Dominguez was a harpist in those days. I am not sure if she still works with them. So I chose to write a piece. Joan asked me if I could write perhaps a concerto for one of the members of the ensemble, so I chose the harpist. And yes, harp is very close to my heart because as a child I was able to play the harp, of course the diatonic harp without pedals, as part of a children's ensemble in Mexico City, where I began to learn music, and we played some music that was specially composed for us by our teacher, who devised a lot of, adapted a lot of children's nursery and songs to be performed as proper concert music. So that was my first contact with the harp. And yes, of course, this is now why I chose to write a harp ensemble. The title comes from, I mean, it has many meanings, and I like that because as it's written, Demente Cuerda means demented strings, and or demented string. But if you don't read it and you just say Demente Cuerda, it could also mean of sound mind. So it has multiple meanings, and therefore the possibilities of adapting itself to whatever you like with the music. And the piece is basically, yes, a dialogue between the soloist and the ensemble.
I think one of the things that I love about the piece is how the harp is used in so many ways, and you sort of weave them all together into the whole piece, where the harp is both contributes to a texture that's being created, whether it's really high, sort of brilliant, shimmery kind of things, if it's bendy notes with the strings and basses and celli, or or even just kind of like almost rhapsodic, like evocative kind of melodies. And another thing that I like to think of as sort of like really interesting melodies that just kind of snake around the instrument, high, middle, and low register really quickly, and how much sort of dynamic writing, not necessarily dynamic in terms of volume, but just the range of writing for the harp is really interesting and kind of unusual for a concerto. And I was interested just in how you thought of what were you interested in exploring in the harp, and what were you what questions did you have that you wanted to think about, and how did you think about all these different elements in the harp writing?
Well, I kind of like very angular melodies, which is, I think, what you're describing, that melodies that jump around the ranges. I think that's very much part of my language, not just for the harp, but also for the piano, like sort of kind of keyboard type of instruments, because you have the two hands, so you're able to make these links between the ranges. And then the harmony can be quite, the melody can be quite expressive if you expand it in range. Because of course the harp, being a plucked instrument, doesn't sustain. So this also gives me the possibility of creating harmonies if I sustain these notes, these melodic notes, with the rest of the ensemble. So this is also that something that I explored in the piece, the way to expand the sonorities of the harp, and to not just make them resonate longer in time, but also transform itself and create textures around these harmonies that are being created. So that's one aspect, using the ensemble as a way of maybe like a speakers, you know, colorful speakers that can sort of transform and distort the sound of the harp. So the harp proposes and the ensemble comments or expands or transforms and proposes at the same time, and the harp takes over. I have also explored in a section of one section of the piece, maybe the most virtuosic part, some very rhythmic ideas which I was exploring at the time. So therefore the change of different meters in the bars. And this is something I have continuously explored in different works of mine. And it also happens in this piece. It is perhaps this is what gave me the idea of madness, no?
That was going to be another follow-up question that I had thought of this morning. Was, you know, one of the great challenges certainly of traditional harp writing is addressing the issue of the sustain. And I think that a version of the way that that challenge is expressed in new music is not just sustain, but how do you alter a pitch, or how do you alter a sound that the harp generates? And you have some really creative approaches that I think are worth maybe pointing out. You have the harmonics being played with a tuning peg glissando. You have some 3-finger plucks with buzzes, which are really interesting. And I just wanted to ask you about those techniques and maybe highlight how they sort of function in the concept of the piece.
Oh, I do love that effect of the harp with the harmonic and the tuning fork. It's one of my favorites. It's the first time I've explored that in this piece. I never had tried it, and it's yeah, you know, I just really like it. It's not so common because I have worked with harpists, orchestral harpists, and they're not so familiar with it. But it's beautiful, really beautiful effect. So this effect, it really yes, strikes moments of end of certain harmonies, a note of certain harmony in the piece, and at the same time it brings a different type of sound, which is almost like electronically produced, but it's acoustic. So it brings in another kind of environment to the piece. It's towards the end of the piece. So yeah, so the harp, if not really very possible to do microtonal melodies. Well, it is possible, but it's very faint. So these chords with 3 fingers strikes or pedal strokes that distort the sound, these are magnified often by the strings, which are able to, this is from the beginning of the piece, are able to play microtonally, like a resonance of this almost percussive sound of the harp. I don't know if I answered your question, did I?
Of course, that's great. I think maybe, and then the final question that I had was, you know, after writing this piece in 2004, is that right?
Yes, right.
After writing the piece, I always love to ask composers, what did writing the piece, what further questions did it raise for you that you were interested in exploring, whether for the harp or for other instruments or format or genre? I love to think about ways in which the work that we did in the past maybe then you know, motivated the next project or the next project, and if it did raise any questions for you, of course, or areas to explore.
Oh, it's a very good question, because it's always like this for me, and this is something that gets harder and harder as I get older, because the more tricks you have up your sleeves as you get older, so to speak. So in this score, I explore quite a lot of techniques which I have continuously explore further and further in pieces after that. Like, for example, towards the end, we have the tone loss, yeah, the way the piece ends. Oh yes, the glissandos of harmonics in the strings, for example, is something I had explored quite a lot in my first string quartet, and I explored it further in this piece, and this is something that resonates quite nicely with this effect of the harp, you know, with the tuning fork, you know, it's and it echoes the way the strings respond with the harp, and it makes it sound as if the sound is disappearing and there's just white noise left there, which is the tone loss, or the breath of the winds, or even the tone loss of the strings. Tone loss is a sound without pitch, like a white note. Yeah.
And what are you working on next, or what are you working on now, if you can share that?
Yeah, I just completed a piece for Klang Art in Berlin. I was just saying I'm very happy. I'm going out to Berlin, and I'm gonna be able to attend first time since lockdown and hear the premiere of this new piece for double bass, percussion, and piano. And it's by the Ensemble of New Music of the Berlin Philharmonic. So I'm very excited at the Philharmonie. And this will be on the 11th of October. And yeah, so this is my most recent project.
Well, it sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Hilda. I'm so excited to be performing your piece, and I hope you enjoy.
Yes, I'm sure I will, and I look forward to be able to attend virtually.